I should have known something was wrong when Rick squeezed my hand too hard during the vows. Not the loving squeeze, the desperate one, the kind that said, please don't run. But I didn't run. I stood there in my $4,000 dress, smiling at 200 guests while my gut screamed at me to bolt. You know that feeling when something's off, but you can't put your finger on it? That instinct that makes your skin crawl? Keep reading, because I should have listened to mine. Let me back up. Tell you who I was before everything fell apart. I'm Sarah, early 30s, pharmaceutical researcher at a biotech firm in Boston, the boring kind of scientist who spends her days in labs, analyzing compounds and reading clinical trials. Rick and I had been together for 3 years, met at a mutual friend's barbecue. He was charming, successful, worked in finance. Or so he said. We got engaged last year. Beautiful proposal in Central Park. All my friends said I was lucky. My mom cried happy tears. I thought I'd found my person, my safe landing after years of bad dates and worse relationships. I had no idea I was marrying my executioner. The ceremony was at this gorgeous vineyard in the Berkshires. October wedding, leaves turning gold and red. Everything looked perfect, felt perfect. Rick looked so handsome in his tux, tears in his eyes as he promised to love me forever. Forever. That word keeps echoing in my head now. My maid of honor, Holly, stood beside me holding my bouquet. She'd been my best friend since college, knew me better than anyone. And during the ceremony, I saw her face go pale. She was staring at something behind me. I turned slightly. Rick's best man, Tony, was looking at his phone, then at Rick, then back at his phone. He had this weird smile, not a happy wedding smile. Something else, something cold. You may kiss the bride. Rick kissed me, hard, possessive. His hand gripped the back of my neck. When he pulled away, he whispered in my ear, "We did it, babe. We're set." Set? Weird thing to say. But the crowd was cheering, and we were walking back down the aisle, and I pushed the thought away. The reception was at the same venue. Open bar, live band, decorated tables that cost more than my car payment. My dad had saved for years to give me this day. Rick had insisted on upgrading everything. Only the best for my bride, he'd said. Now I know why. Go big for the last party. During cocktail hour, Holly grabbed my arm. Hard. Her nails dug into my skin. Bathroom. Now. Her voice had this edge that made my blood run cold. We pushed through guests offering congratulations, made it to the bridal suite, and she locked the door. "Sit down," she said. "Holly, what?" "Sit down." I sat. My hands were shaking. I didn't know why yet, but my body knew. Your body always knows. I know what you're thinking. Just tell me what happened already. Trust me, I'm getting there, and I wish I could say this is where the story gets better. It doesn't. It gets so much worse. Holly pulled out her phone. Her hands were trembling too. Tony left his phone on the table during photos. It buzzed. I saw the screen. She took a breath. "Sarah, I saw messages. Between Rick and Tony." "Okay?" My voice sounded far away. "I took screenshots. I need you to look at them. And I need you to not scream." She handed me the phone. The first message was from Tony to Rick, sent that morning. "You sure about the Ambien plus diazepam combo?" "That's a lot." Rick's response. "She's 140 pounds. Did the math. She'll be out within an hour on the boat. Make it look like she fell. Current strong there." Tony. "And the insurance pays out even overseas?" Rick. "Checked 3 times. 2 Mollers. You get your 30% within 60 days. Then I'm clear of those debts and we're both rich." I couldn't breathe. The words swam on the screen. Ambien, diazepam, insurance. Make it look like she fell. "There's more," Holly whispered. I scrolled. Rick, 2 weeks ago. "Bali Villa is perfect. Private beach, no cameras. Boat rental confirmed for day 3. Honeymoon to remember." Tony. "You're sure she doesn't suspect anything?" Rick. "She's a scientist, not a detective. Too trusting. Too naive. It's almost sad." My vision blurred. Not crying yet. Just shock. Complete shutdown of normal brain function. "Sarah," Holly's voice cracked. "There's an insurance policy. I found the documents in Tony's jacket. He's careless when he drinks. Rick took out a $2 million life insurance policy on you last month. You're listed as not knowing about it. That's not... I couldn't finish. My throat closed up. That's not legal. I have to consent. He forged your signature. I compared it to the marriage license. It's good. Really good. The room spun. I gripped the edge of the vanity. My wedding ring felt like it was burning my finger. 3 years. 3 years of dates and trips and meeting each other's families. 3 years of I love yous and future planning and talking about kids. 3 years of falling asleep next to a man who was planning to murder me on our honeymoon. We call the police, Holly said. Right now. We show them everything. No. The word came out stronger than I felt. Sarah? No. I stood up. My legs were shaking, but they held. I need to think. Here's the thing about being a pharmaceutical researcher. You spend your whole career studying drugs, how they work, what they do to the human body, dosages, interactions, side effects. I knew exactly what Ambien and diazepam did together. Sedation, respiratory depression, potential coma. In the water, drowning would look accidental. Tragic honeymoon accident. Poor young widow husband. Except I'm the one who's supposed to drown, and I recognized something else in those messages. Rick had mentioned my weight. He'd done the math on dosage. He'd researched this, planned it, probably for months. Sarah, you're scaring me. Holly was crying now. We have to do something. We will. I looked at her. But not yet. I need you to trust me. Are you insane? He's trying to kill you. I know. My voice was eerily calm, and I'm going to let him try. The reception was starting. I could hear the DJ announcing our entrance. Mr. and Mrs. Rick Morrison, the name I'd taken 30 minutes ago, the name that came with a death sentence. I wiped Holly's mascara, fixed my lipstick, and smiled at my reflection. The woman staring back looked bridal, glowing, happy. She was a ghost. What are you going to do? Holly asked. Dance with my husband, cut the cake, throw the bouquet. I turned to her. And then I'm going to kill him before he can kill me. Not literally, but he didn't need to know that yet. We walked back out. Rick was waiting at our table, looking worried. There you are. Thought you got cold feet. He laughed. Tony laughed with him. Never, I said sweetly. Just had some bride emotions. You know how it is. I took Rick's hand. His palm was sweaty, nervous. Good. The DJ called us to the dance floor, our first dance as husband and wife. Rick held me close, his breath warm on my neck. I love you so much, he whispered. Can't wait for Bali. Just you and me in that private beach. My stomach turned. Me too, honey. Me too. Over his shoulder, I caught Holly's eye. She was pale, terrified, but she nodded. She'd do whatever I needed. That's what best friends do. They also don't let you get murdered on your honeymoon. The thing is, Rick made one critical mistake. He assumed I was naive, trusting, too dumb to see what was coming. He assumed I'd take those pills he was planning to give me. He assumed I'd get on that boat. He assumed I'd drown quietly in the Indonesian Ocean while he played the devastated husband. He assumed wrong. Because here's what Rick didn't know about his new wife. I don't just study pharmaceuticals. I synthesize them. I know exactly how to make someone very, very sick without killing them. I know which compounds cause violent but temporary reactions. I know how to make someone wish they were dead without actually dying. And I was about to teach my husband a very painful lesson. What would you do if you found out your spouse was planning to murder you? Would you run? Call the police? Or would you do what I did? Comment below, because I need to know I'm not crazy for what comes next. The party went on. I smiled for photos, hugged relatives, gave my speech thanking everyone for coming, played the happy bride perfectly. Inside, my brain was moving at light speed. You're probably wondering how I didn't fall apart right there, how I kept it together. Honestly, I don't know. Survival mode maybe, or fury, probably both. Rick kept touching me all night. Hand on my waist, lips on my cheek, fingers intertwined with mine. Every touch felt like poison, but I smiled through it, laughed at his jokes, fed him cake while cameras flashed. To us, he toasted at dinner, and to many happy years together. Tony raised his glass too. To the happy couple, may you have everything you deserve. The way he said deserve made my skin crawl. They clinked glasses, shared a look, a joke only they understood. Except now I understood it too. I excused myself after dinner, told Rick I needed to touch up my makeup. Holly followed me like a shadow. Okay, she said once we were alone. What's the plan? And please tell me it involves not dying. It involves him wishing he was dead instead. I pulled out my phone. I need you to do something for me, something technically illegal. Name it. Rick's vitamins. He takes them every morning, has since I met him, keeps them in his shaving kit. Okay? I need you to take photos of the bottles, labels, everything. Then I need you to find his laptop. He'll have files, financial records, emails, maybe more messages with Tony. I need all of it. Holly stared at me. You want me to break into your hotel room? During your wedding reception? He'll be busy, drinking with his groomsmen. He won't notice you're gone. Take my room key. I pressed it into her hand. 30 minutes? That's all I need. Sarah, this is insane. He's trying to kill me, Holly, for $2 million. With money he'll split with his best friend. You think I'm going to let him get away with that? You think I'm going to trust the police to believe me over a respected finance guy with a sob story? My voice rose. I forced it back down. I need evidence. Real evidence, and I need time. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. 30 minutes. She left. I went back to the reception, heart pounding, smile frozen on my face. Rick was talking with Tony by the bar. They stopped when they saw me coming. Hey, beautiful, Rick said, pulling me into a hug. Was just telling Tony about that beachside restaurant in Bali. The one you wanted to try. Sounds perfect, I said. Day 3, Tony added. After you're all settled in. Day 3. The same day Rick mentioned the boat rental in his texts. The day they planned to kill me. Can't wait, I said brightly. Though, honestly, I might be too relaxed to move by then. Between the flight and the time zone change, I'll probably sleep for 2 days straight. Rick's eyes lit up. That's my girl. You need the rest. You've been working so hard. Translation. Good. You'll already be tired. The drugs will work faster. My phone buzzed. Text from Holly. Got everything. You need to see this. Now. Excuse me, I told the guys. Bathroom again. This dress is a nightmare. I found Holly back in the bridal suite. She'd spread papers across the counter. Her face was white as chalk. What? I asked, already dreading the answer. This isn't his first time. My heart stopped. What? I found files from 2 years ago. Another girlfriend, Grace Parker. She died in Costa Rica. Drowning accident during a vacation. Rick was with her. No. No, 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 no. Holly handed me printouts, police report, death certificate, travel documents, and an insurance claim. $1 million payout to beneficiary, Rick Morrison. He did this before, I whispered. He killed someone before. Have you ever had that moment where everything you thought you knew just shatters? Where you realize the person you love is actually a monster? That's where I was. And it was about to get worse. There's more. Holly's voice shook. Financial records. He's in debt. Like serious debt. $500,000 to some people in New York. Names I recognized from crime reports. Loan sharks. He's got 30 days to pay them back, or... She didn't finish. Or they kill him, I finished. So he decided to kill me first. Get the insurance money, pay off his debts, start fresh. It was so coldly logical it almost made sense. In a psychopathic kind of way. And Tony? I asked. Gets 30%, probably helped with Grace too. I found Venmo transactions between them from 2 years ago, right after Grace died. $300,000 from Rick to Tony, labeled as investment return. I sat down hard on the couch, my wedding dress pulled around me like a white puddle. 2 people. Rick had murdered at least 2 people. And I was going to be number 3. We go to the police, Holly said firmly. Right now, we show them everything. With what proof? Screenshots of texts that could be faked? Financial records we stole from his hotel room? His word against ours? I shook my head. He's smart, Holly. He's done this before and gotten away with it. He'll have lawyers. Explanations. He'll make me look crazy. jealous new wife having cold feet. So what? You just get on a plane to Bali with him? Let him try to kill you? No. I pulled out my own phone, started typing. I let him think he's going to kill me, but I'm going to make sure he's in no condition to try. I opened my notes app, started listing compounds, chemical combinations, dosages, my area of expertise. What are you doing? Holly asked. Creating the worst 72 hours of Rick's life. I looked up. Remember how I said I know pharmaceuticals? I don't just know them, I can make them. Or rather, I can make something that mimics food poisoning. Violent, debilitating, completely temporary. The kind that lands you in a hospital but does no permanent damage. You're going to poison your husband on your honeymoon? I'm going to make him too sick to kill me. And while he's puking his guts out in a Bali hospital, I'm going to be gathering more evidence. Real evidence. The kind that holds up in court. I stood up. I need Rick's vitamins. The ones you photographed. Holly pulled them from her purse. 3 bottles. Multivitamin, fish oil, probiotic, all innocuous, all perfect. These bottles look identical to ones I have at home, I said. I'll switch them out tonight. Start him on my special blend tomorrow. By the time we board the plane to Bali, he'll already be feeling queasy. By the time we land, he'll be in agony. This is insane, Sarah. He tried to kill me, and someone before me, and he would have killed whoever came after me too. My voice hardened. I'm not letting him get away with it. Not this time. I texted my friend Lisbeth. She's a lawyer, specializes in criminal defense, has connections. If anyone could help me navigate this legal nightmare, it was her. Me. Need to talk, urgent, not safe. Can't explain on phone. Lisbeth. Say when and where. I'm there. Me. Monday morning, my lab, come alone. Monday was 3 days away, day before our flight to Bali, enough time to prepare everything, switch the vitamins, gather evidence, build my case. What do you need from me? Holly asked. Pack an overnight bag, small, things you need to disappear for a week if necessary. Keep it in your car. If something goes wrong, if I don't check in with you every day while we're in Bali, you take everything we found and you go to the FBI, not local police. FBI. Sarah, promise me. She hugged me tight. Promise. But you better check in, because if you die, I'm going to kill you. Despite everything, I almost laughed. We went back to the reception. Final hour. Guests were leaving, drunk and happy, telling us how beautiful the wedding was, how perfect we looked together, how lucky we were. If only they knew. Rick found me as I was saying goodbye to my parents. Ready to head up? He asked. Big day tomorrow, lots of travel. Tomorrow we'd be opening gifts. Day after, flying to Bali. Day after that, Rick would try to murder me. Ready, I said. We went up to the honeymoon suite. Rick started undressing, talking about how perfect everything was, how much he loved me, how excited he was for our future together. I went to the bathroom, stared at my reflection. My mascara had smudged. I looked exhausted, hollow. I also looked determined. I opened my overnight bag, found the bottle I'd hidden there. Small prescription label peeled off. Inside 60 capsules. Custom compound I'd made in my lab last week. Completely legal components. Combined, they'd cause severe gastrointestinal distress for 72 hours. Vomiting, diarrhea, fever, weakness. Mimicked food poisoning or stomach flu perfectly. I told my supervisor I was testing a new probiotic formula. She'd approved it without question. I'd been working there for 6 years, trusted employee, never gave her a reason to doubt me. I know what you're thinking right now. This is crazy, this is dangerous, what if it goes wrong? Yeah, I thought that too. But you know what's more dangerous? Getting on a boat with a man who's planning to kill you. I switched Rick's probiotic bottle with mine. Perfect match. Same brand, same bottle, same capsule size. He'd never notice. Starting tomorrow morning, he'd take 2 capsules with breakfast, like he always did. Reliable Rick, creature of habit. By tomorrow night, he'd be feeling off, chalking it up to wedding stress or too much champagne. By Sunday, he'd be sick. Really sick. By Monday, when we boarded that plane to Bali, he'd already be in hell. And by the time we landed in Indonesia, Rick Morrison would be in no condition to kill anyone. I walked back into the bedroom. Rick was already in bed, looking at his phone. Probably texting Tony, confirming plans, counting his money. "Come here, Mrs. Morrison," he said with that smile I used to love. I slid into bed next to him, let him kiss me, let him hold me, let him think he'd won. He had no idea what was coming. None at all. "So here's my question. If someone tried to kill you, would you trust the system to protect you, or would you take matters into your own hands? Because I chose the latter, and I'm not sure I regret it." Sunday morning, Rick threw up for the first time around 8 a.m. "Must be the champagne," he groaned, hunched over the toilet. "Had too much at the reception." I stood in the doorway holding his water, playing concerned wife. "Want me to get you something? Pepto? Ginger ale?" "You're probably screaming, how could you watch him suffer?" "Easy." I kept thinking about Grace Parker, about how she drowned in Costa Rica while Rick watched, while he probably held her under. "I'll be fine," he said, wiping his mouth. "Just need to sleep it off." He wasn't fine. By noon, he'd thrown up 3 more times. By evening, he couldn't keep anything down. Water, crackers. Nothing stayed. "Maybe we should reschedule the flight," I suggested, knowing he'd refuse. "No." He was pale, sweating, but determined. "We're going. I'll feel better once we're there. It's just stress, the wedding, work stuff." Work stuff. Right. Like planning your wife's murder. I called Lisbeth. Met her at my lab Monday morning while Rick was passed out in bed, too weak to notice I'd left. "Tell me everything," she said the moment we were alone. I did. Showed her everything Holly had found, the texts, the financial records, Grace Parker's death certificate, the insurance policies, all of it. Lisbeth's face went from concerned to horrified to coldly professional, lawyer mode engaged. "This is enough for an investigation," she said carefully, "but not enough for an arrest, not yet. The texts could be explained away. The finances are circumstantial. Grace's death was ruled accidental." "So what do I do?" "You get more. You get him on record, confessing, discussing the plan, admitting to Grace." She pulled out a small device, voice recorder, hidden camera, both legal in Massachusetts with one-party consent. You're the one party. Record everything from now until you get what we need. And then we go to the FBI. With recordings, financial evidence, and a clear pattern of behavior, they'll have enough to charge him, maybe even reopen Grace's case. She looked at me hard. "But Sarah, this is dangerous. If he figures out what you're doing..." "He won't. He thinks I'm an idiot. Too trusting, remember?" I took the devices. Besides, he'll be too sick to notice anything for the next few days. Rick was still vomiting when I got home. He'd called out of work, canceled our gift opening brunch with his parents, could barely stand. "I don't understand," he moaned. "I never get sick. Never." "Maybe it's a bug," I said, wiping his forehead with a cool cloth. "You want me to call a doctor?" "No, I'll be fine for the flight tomorrow. I'll be fine." He wasn't fine. But we went to the airport anyway. Rick could barely walk. I had to practically carry him through security. Gate agents kept asking if he needed medical attention. He refused every time. "Just airsick," he muttered. "I'll sleep on the plane." The flight was 16 hours. Boston to Doha to Bali. Rick spent most of it in the bathroom. The flight attendants were worried. I played distressed newlywed beautifully. "He was fine yesterday," I lied. "I don't know what happened. Maybe something he ate?" Anyone who's ever been on a long international flight knows how miserable they are normally. Now imagine being violently ill the entire time. I almost felt bad. Almost. Tony was supposed to meet us in Bali. He'd flown out 2 days earlier, Rick had told me. "To set up some surprises," he'd said with a wink. "More like to make sure everything was ready for my murder." But when we landed, Rick could barely walk. He was dehydrated, feverish, and so weak I had to get a wheelchair from the airport. "Hospital," I told the driver in the taxi. "He needs a hospital." "No," Rick protested weakly. "Villa? Just get me to the villa. I'll be fine." "You're not fine. You need a doctor." I pulled out my phone, already dialing. Found the nearest hospital on Google Maps. "Driver, take us to Sangla Hospital, please, quickly." Rick was admitted immediately. Severe dehydration, possible food poisoning, they said. They put him on IV fluids, ran tests, kept him in observation. I stayed by his side. Dutiful wife, worried sick, recording everything. Tony showed up around midnight. He looked panicked when he saw Rick hooked up to machines. "What the hell happened?" he asked me in the hallway. "He got sick on the flight." "They think it's food poisoning." "Food poisoning?" Tony's jaw clenched. "You're kidding me." "I wish I was. Doctors say he'll be here for at least 3 days, maybe longer." I wiped fake tears. "Our honeymoon is ruined." Tony looked at me like I'd personally sabotaged his plans, which I had, just not the way he thought. He went in to see Rick. I stayed outside, recorder in my purse, positioned just right. Their voices carried through the partially open door. "This is bad," Tony said. "We had 3 days. Now what?" "I don't know." Rick's voice was weak but frustrated. The plan was day 3. Beach, boat, done. Now she's going to be hovering, worried. We can't do anything with her watching. "So we abort?" "We don't have time to abort. I owe Dimitri $500,000 by the end of next month." "You think he's going to give me an extension?" "He kills people for being late on payment." "Then what?" Silence. "Then Rick, we do it here." My blood froze. "In the hospital?" Tony sounded incredulous. "Not in the hospital, but soon as I'm out. We rent a bike, take her to see the rice terraces or some tourist trap. Mountain roads, cliffs everywhere. Accidents happen." Rick coughed. "Just need to be strong enough to drive." "And the insurance still pays out?" "Accident is an accident. Doesn't matter where." I heard Tony shift. "What about Grace? They never connected you to that?" "Grace was perfect. Drowning, ruled accidental, money transferred, case closed. No one questioned it. No one will question this either." Rick's voice hardened. "Sarah's even easier, sweet, trusting. Her family loves me. Everyone will believe I'm devastated. Tragic honeymoon accident. Poor Rick." This is the part where it stopped being about survival and started being about justice. This man had killed before. He was planning to kill me, and he felt nothing. No remorse, no guilt, nothing. I had everything I needed, but I stayed. Kept recording. Let them talk. "You sure she doesn't suspect anything?" Tony asked. "Look at her. She's playing nurse, worried about me. She has no idea." Rick laughed. Actually laughed. "That's what makes this so easy. She's smart enough to be successful, but dumb enough to trust me. Perfect mark. Perfect mark. 3 years together. 3 years of my life. And I was just a mark. I walked away before I did something stupid. Went to the bathroom. Locked the door. Stared at my reflection. I looked different. Harder. Colder. The Sarah who walked down that aisle 5 days ago was gone. This Sarah was someone else entirely. This Sarah was going to destroy them both. I pulled out my phone, called Lisbeth. "I got it," I said. "Confession, admission to previous murder, new plan to kill me. All recorded. Get somewhere safe, now. Don't go back to that villa. Don't go anywhere with him." "I'm not done yet." "Sarah?" "I'm not done." I hung up. I went back to Rick's room. Tony was leaving. He nodded at me, fake sympathy on his face. "He's going to be okay," he said. "Your husband's strong." "I know," I said sweetly. "He's a survivor. He survives everything." Tony's eyes flickered. Uncertainty there. But he left. I sat next to Rick's bed. He was sleeping now, finally comfortable with the IV fluids helping. I watched him breathe. Thought about Grace, about me, about whoever would have come after me. "You made one mistake," I whispered, knowing he couldn't hear me. "You underestimated me. You thought I was too dumb to see through you. Too weak to fight back. You were wrong." I pulled out the recorder, saved the file, backed it up to cloud storage, sent copies to Lisbeth, Holly, and my own encrypted email. Then I called the Bali police, told them I needed to report an attempted murder and a potential connection to a previous death in Costa Rica. They arrived within an hour. I showed them everything. Recordings, documents, Grace's death certificate, Rick's debts, Tony's involvement, all of it. They arrested Tony first, found him at his hotel. Then they came for Rick, arrested him in his hospital bed, read him his rights while he was still hooked up to an IV. He looked at me. Actually looked confused, like he couldn't understand how this happened. "You?" he said. "You did this?" "Yeah," I said calmly. "Me. The naive one, the trusting one. The perfect mark. I leaned closer. By the way, those probiotics you've been taking? My own special formula, pharmaceutical grade, guaranteed to make you too sick to kill anyone. You're welcome. His face went white, whiter than the illness had made it. You knew? I knew everything, had proof of everything, and now you're going to prison for everything. I stood up. Grace Parker, remember her? The girlfriend you drowned in Costa Rica? They're reopening her case. Turns out her family never believed it was an accident. They'll be happy to finally get justice. Rick started yelling. Threats, curses, didn't matter. The police dragged him away. Still in his hospital gown, still weak from 3 days of vomiting. Fitting, really. What would you do to someone who tried to kill you? Honestly, because I did what I thought was right. But sometimes I wonder if I went too far. Was it justice or revenge? Comment below. I need to know I'm not the villain here. The Bali police kept me for questioning. 6 hours of statements, going through evidence, confirming details. They wanted to make sure I wasn't involved, that I was actually a victim. Lisbeth flew out the next day, spent 48 hours navigating Indonesian legal system on my behalf, making sure I was protected, making sure the evidence would hold up internationally. To everyone who's stuck with me this far, thank you, because this is where the story stops being about survival and starts being about rebuilding. And that part? That was almost harder. Rick and Tony were held without bail. The evidence was overwhelming. Texts, financial records, voice recordings of them discussing Grace's murder and planning mine. The forged insurance policy, everything. Interpol got involved. Contacted Costa Rica authorities. Grace Parker's case was officially reopened. Her family was notified. They'd been fighting for 2 years to prove it wasn't an accident. Now they had proof. Grace's mom called me. We talked for 3 hours. She cried. I cried. She told me about her daughter. Brilliant marine biologist, loved diving, loved Rick, trusted him completely. I knew, she said. I knew he killed her, but I couldn't prove it. The police said I was grieving, imagining things, but a mother knows. She got justice, I told her. Finally, she got justice. The trial took 8 months. I testified in both Indonesian and U.S. courts. Rick was extradited to Costa Rica first, tried for Grace's murder, found guilty, sentenced to life. Then he was sent back to Massachusetts, tried for attempted murder, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. Tony was tried alongside him as an accomplice in both cases. The prosecution presented everything, the texts, the recordings, financial records showing Rick had done this before, profited from it, and was attempting it again. My testimony about the switched vitamins, the plan, the confession I'd recorded. Rick's lawyers tried everything, said I'd entrapped him, said the recordings were inadmissible, said I'd poisoned him first, so I was guilty too. Didn't work. The compound I'd used was completely non-toxic. Temporary gastrointestinal distress, no permanent damage. Self-defense, Lisbeth argued, preventing a murder attempt, buying time to gather evidence and alert authorities. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Rick got 25 years, no possibility of parole for 20. Tony got 15 years as an accomplice. I was there for the sentencing, sat in the front row, wore the same shade of blue I'd worn to our first date. Wanted him to remember what he'd lost, what he'd thrown away when he decided I was worth more dead than alive. The judge asked if I wanted to give a victim impact statement. I stood up. Rick Morrison made me believe I was loved, I said. My voice was steady, clear. He made me believe I was safe. He made me believe I'd found my person. And the entire time he was planning to kill me. Just like he killed Grace Parker, just like he probably would have killed whoever came after me. I looked at him. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Grace's family lost a daughter. My family almost lost a daughter too. How many more families would have lost someone if he hadn't been stopped? I took a breath. I don't forgive him. I won't ever forgive him. But I'm grateful for one thing. He showed me exactly how strong I really am and how much I'm capable of when I decide to fight back. Rick was led away in handcuffs. I never saw him again. I know some people think I should have just called the police from the start. that taking matters into my own hands was wrong. Maybe, but the police didn't believe Grace's family. They might not have believed me either, so I made sure they had no choice. The insurance company investigated everything. Found the forged policy, voided it, sued Rick's estate for fraud. There was nothing left anyway. Everything he had went to legal fees and restitution to Grace's family. I got my wedding money back, my dad's savings he'd spent. The vendors refunded everything once they heard what happened. The vineyard even sent flowers with an apology for hosting what they called the wedding from hell. I used the money to start my own pharmaceutical company. Small at first, just me and 2 partners, but we focused on something specific, developing compounds that could be used in self-defense situations. Non-lethal, but effective. The kind of thing that could save someone's life if they were in danger. We called it Parker Pharmaceuticals, after Grace. Her family gave their blessing. Said she would have loved the idea of her name being attached to something that protected women. 3 years later, we're worth $10 million. We've developed 4 compounds now, all FDA approved. All designed to give people time to escape, time to get help, time to gather evidence. I speak at conferences now, tell my story, warn people about financial red flags, about trusting too quickly, about gut instincts they shouldn't ignore. I also work with law enforcement, help them understand how predators operate, how they choose victims, how they plan, what to look for in cases that seem like accidents but might be something darker. Grace's case helped too. It opened doors to reviewing other accidental deaths involving life insurance policies. Turns out Rick and Tony weren't the only ones running the scheme. We've helped reopen 14 cases in the past 3 years. 5 have resulted in murder convictions. I'm 35 now, single, not interested in dating. Maybe someday. But right now, I'm focused on the work, on making sure what happened to me and Grace doesn't happen to anyone else. Here's what I learned from all of this. Trust your gut. Always. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore red flags because you love someone. Don't make excuses for behavior that doesn't add up. And if someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Holly's still my best friend. Still the person who saved my life by being nosy enough to look at Tony's phone. She works with me now, head of security at Parker Pharmaceuticals. Makes sure all our compounds are tested safely, used ethically, stored properly. We're like a really nerdy version of Charlie's Angels, she jokes, except with chemistry sets instead of weapons. My parents struggled with everything at first, my dad especially. He'd liked Rick, trusted him, felt guilty that he hadn't seen the signs. There were no signs, I told him. That's what made Rick so dangerous. He was good at pretending. That's not your fault. They're proud of what I've built now, what I've survived. Mom tells everyone about my company. Dad keeps articles about our work in his wallet. Last week I got a letter from Grace's mom. She's in her 70s now. The trial wore her down, but she said getting justice gave her peace. She also said Grace would have liked me. Would have been proud of what I built in her name. I keep that letter in my desk, read it sometimes when I'm having a bad day. When the memories get too heavy, when I remember standing at that altar, realizing the man I loved was planning to murder me. To anyone reading this who's in a situation that feels off, get out, get help. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for it to get worse. Just get safe. Trust me on this. Your gut knows. Listen to it. I still think about that day sometimes. The wedding, the white dress, the vineyard. How perfect everything looked. How everyone said we were the perfect couple. And I think about how close I came to dying. How close Rick came to getting away with it. Again. But he didn't. Because I fought back. Because I trusted myself more than I trusted him. Because when it came down to survival or being the perfect trusting wife, I chose survival. Every time. And I'd do it again. Remember, your life is worth fighting for. Your safety is worth more than anyone's feelings. And if someone makes you choose between trusting them and trusting yourself, choose yourself, always. To everyone who read this whole story, I hope you never need to use what I learned. But if you do, I hope you remember that you're stronger than you think, that you can survive, that you can fight back, and that you can rebuild. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Comment if you've had a moment where your gut told you something was wrong, and please, please listen to that voice. It might save your life. Stay safe out there. Sarah,